Hey, good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Quite funny, we weren't entirely sure if we were going to be able to run this webinar today. We had a big for Oregon snowstorm yesterday, so we're battling some bad roads. I'm sure those of you in the Midwest will think it's quite entertaining, but we're very thankful for the internet and being able to utilize that to run this webinar from home. With that, we have a few housekeeping items. We'll just jump in to the next slide here. Get it to go. There we go. We have a few housekeeping items. First of all, I am recording this webinar, so I will post it to our YouTube channel, and then you will also get an email follow-up with a link to the recording that you can watch at your own convenience. There's also a Q&A at the end of this webinar, so in your toolbar on the right-hand side of your screen, you'll see a box that says questions. If you just type in your questions there, we will answer those at the end of the webinar. And then also below that is a link to handouts. I have 5 different PDF documents under there, so each of the product cards are available for you to download. It has all of the ingredient information and some little blurbs about each of the products and sort of what they do and how you can maintain your wellness in other ways besides just using the supplement. So they're really interesting to look at. Definitely download those if you can. And then also just scheduling, just so you know, we're doing these the second week of every month. So at the end of the webinar, I'll go over a save the date for the next one. But just so you know, we are doing these on a regular basis. So we're really glad that you're here with us and hope that you continue to join us. So the reason that we're doing weight loss today is because obviously we're about to enter resolution season for the new year, and weight loss is one of the most popular resolutions. Last year, the Washington Post reported that almost half of all Americans resolved to get fitter, faster, and reach their feel great weight. So that is right around the corner. And so in line with that, we're going to share a few weight loss supplements in our portfolio, and then also 2 cleansing support products. And of course, we preface all of this by saying that there is no magic bullet in weight loss. All of the products we're sharing today should be supported with a sensible diet, including a reduction in simple sugars and starches, and also proper exercise. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to John Mills. He is our Director of Quality and Compliance here at Mount Angel Vitamins, and he's going to run through all of the products. So John, take it away.
Good morning. So trying to get my system to respond here. There we go. Our first product we're going to be looking at this morning is Turmeric Trim. It is a curcumin-based product. Looking at the label copy on this particular one, you'll see the turmeric root extract, and it's a 95% curcuminoid content, which is the curcumin C3 complex, the most researched form of curcuminoids on the market today. And I just wanted to point out in this particular product, it is in combination with bioperine, which is a black pepper extract. Those 2 in combination with each other have a very positive benefit associated with it. Curcuminoids typically are not very soluble and not very absorbable. However, they have found in research that when you combine the curcuminoid complex, the 95% curcuminoid complex, with a black pepper extract, the bioperine, it actually increases the amount of absorption tremendously. We're talking multiple points, like 10x, that type of an increase in the absorption of the curcuminoid complex. Why would we want to use turmeric root or a turmeric extract in a weight loss product? Well, turmeric root itself has some very nice properties. It is a very old material in human conditions, human uses. It's one of the plants that was taken to the Hawaiian Islands by the Hawaiian Islanders when they first moved there as a medicinal plant for various applications, applications in their daily lives. It is a wonderful spice in and of itself, but there's a secondary application to the curcuminoids in that they encourage fat metabolism. They encourage metabolic energy. So the whole idea behind the concentration of the curcuminoid extract is to encourage that metabolic increase in the body. Now, this is accomplished through a couple of different components in this particular product. The turmeric root, of course, is one of those. The red pepper extract, which is a capsicum type extract. This particular material increases total body heat, so to speak, increases metabolism in the body. The green tea extract is another one of those things which has the polyphenol component to it, which is very supportive of the body in its various antioxidant type applications, but then also has been shown to have some metabolitic response as well. And of course, people say when they look at this particular combination of the turmeric root, the red pepper, and the green tea, they think, oh my gosh, the red pepper in there is going to really upset my stomach. Well, we included ginger root in this particular product to help mitigate some of those issues. But another nice thing is that ginger root is actually related to turmeric. They're cousins, so to speak, in the plant kingdom. They're cousins, and they have some similar properties with each other, although the ginger has that main benefit of actually being a calming agent to the digestive system, specifically the stomach and the like. And then when you're looking at any type of a weight loss system, one of the biggest concerns is muscle mass. When you start losing your muscle mass, instead of losing fat, you're losing weight. But the problem is that you are creating a secondary issue for you in your life, because then you have to rebuild that muscle mass at a later point, but you still have the fat problem. So the question then is, how do you do that? How do you maintain the muscle mass and still reduce your total overall weight? And that would be associated with the L-leucine. L-leucine is an amino acid. This particular one is a fermentation process. It's a total vegetarian form of L-leucine. You can get L-leucine from two different sources. One is from duck feathers, and the other one is from a fermentation process. And we purchased the higher quality material, which is the fermentation process material in order to use in this particular product. In fact, use most of our, in quite a few different products that we have. Weight loss is one of my favorite places to put it, though, simply because it helps to reduce muscle mass loss. And then we can move on into the next product, which is our raspberry ketones. Raspberry ketones, the raspberry ketone is actually a molecule. It's just a simple molecule that is found in a number of different types of plants, and we use an all-natural form of raspberry ketone. We don't use the synthetic varieties that are typically available. We worry about not using natural forms of various products. We try to focus on that side of it. So I was able to find the raspberry ketone as a natural source from a flavors company in the Midwest, and that's where we acquire our particular raspberry ketone. We combine this particular product with a green tea extract. Again, it's the same extract that's used in the turmeric trim. The green tea extract has all those benefits we just talked about. In addition to that, it has, I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought there. Someone walked into my office. The raspberry ketones in combination with the green tea extract work really nicely together in that the raspberry ketones themselves act as that metabolic support, and then the green tea also acts in that same capacity. Once again, we have ginger root there as a calming agent for your digestive system, because typically when you're doing dietary issues, you're changing your dietary patterns a little bit, and that can cause some gastric distress. So in this particular case, this particular product works very nicely in conjunction with a standard exercise program. And I do have to come back to that. Whenever you're working with a weight loss product, a weight loss system, a weight loss application, you always want to make sure that you maintain or increase your exercise level. By just stopping exercising because you just don't feel like getting up and going, your metabolism changes, and your metabolism starts to drop. When your metabolism drops, you don't digest, you don't work through the fat loads that are on your body already. So really, exercise is a very key component. Exercise can be very simple. It can be as simple as walking 5 miles a day, which is 10,000 steps, okay? So if you get one of those step monitors, or if you use your smartphone to do a step check, then you can actually do the 10,000 steps very easily. Here at work where I am, just getting up and moving around the office and going out to the floor, to the manufacturing floor and the like, I'll put in anywhere around 4,500 to 6,500 steps in just the day, just by me moving around the office area. So it's very easy to get at least half of that, and then it's just a very simple thing going for a walk at lunchtime and the like. Slim-zymes is another way to approach your dietary considerations. Slim-zymes is a digestive product that helps you to get the most out of what your foods you are eating. So this is something very important to take just prior to the meal, or if you're not interested in doing that, the other side of this particular product is that it can help you to rebuild muscle from exercise. When taken on an empty stomach, the enzymes are entered into your bloodstream normally. They're very similar. These are a porcine pancreatic material, so these are very similar to the human form, and they enter in, they act the same way the enzymes do in your body, and enzymes are absolutely required. Trypsin, chymotrypsin, pancreatin, pancreolipase, all these enzymes, these are enzymes that are absolutely required for rebuilding muscle, because they go into your cell, the muscle mass, and they help to deconstruct the muscle mass and rebuild the muscle mass for your body. So if you're in an aggressive exercise program, I highly recommend having a protease in your diet. If you don't like using the animal-based proteases like Slim-zymes here, you could always go to a bromelain and use a pineapple-based enzyme in the same capacity. But the idea is to take it on an empty stomach. Now, if you want to maximize the amount of energy and the amount of nutrient factors you're getting from your food products, then you need to take this just prior to the meal or during the first portion of the meal. Take one capsule at that time, and then and go forward from there. And this product will work in that capacity then to help maximize that amount of food that you're getting, amount of nutrition you're getting from your food. It supports fat digestion. Fat is very important to you. If you were looking at a diet program, the most critical part of that program is going to be fat and protein. Carbohydrates are not your friend when you're on a diet. Carbohydrates, they build body fat, they build the stomach fat, they build the waist fat. The muscle, by maintaining your muscles and by increasing a little bit of fat, reducing total intake, but by keeping the fat constant, then you're able to maintain your energy levels. Fat is energy. Fat is direct energy. Carbohydrates are long-term energy. They go into fat in your body so that your body can pull from them later on. So your body looks at carbohydrates and say, oh, this is great for storage, and it puts it into storage, body fat. If you're eating fat in your diet, the calories that are associated with fat are either consumed or lost. Your body doesn't store those. Your body doesn't store the protein calories either. It's breaking those down and turning those into amino acids to use in other ways. If you have an abundance of energy there, then the body will take and store all the carbohydrates in as body fat. So by limiting the amount of carbohydrates you're going into your body, you actually start to metabolize those a little bit, even though you're still getting the caloric intake from the fat and protein. You're still able to work off some of the fats from the body fat, because you change the metabolic process of your body. Your body starts increasing its metabolic rate. You start processing more and more energy. You start requiring more and more energy, so your body starts using the carbohydrates which have been stored as energy sources for your body at that point. Whenever you're in a diet process, one of the things that you need to have is an appropriately functioning liver. And this particular product supports healthy liver function. The ingredients in it are supportive to, number one, the natural elimination cycle for the liver. The liver has its own little, it's like it's a second heart for your body, and it has its own little digestive processes and everything else that go on inside of it. So whenever you stimulate the liver, and that's what the burdock root, dandelion root, and milk thistle and Oregon grapefruit are doing in here. Whenever you stimulate the liver, It wants to push material out into the bile duct. Now, of course, this product would be contraindicated if you had bile obstructions. If you have gallstones and things like that, then I would not recommend something like this. It's not recommended for that particular application. That's a concern to me. Excuse me. As the liver is stimulated, it's pushing all this material out into the bile duct, and then that dumps into the intestinal tract and is then excreted through your natural waste cycle of your intestinal tract. So the idea then is, as you are stimulating your liver and you're exercising the liver through these type of a program, then your liver begins to become more efficient in how it digests fats and other nutrient factors for your body. Well, as it's doing that process of working, it needs other types of nutrients which then act as support factors for cellular replication, for a variety of other things, such as N-acetylcysteine, such as the diendylyl methane. Those two products especially are very nice antioxidant forms to support the liver and to keep the liver functioning correctly. The D-limonene acts in that same capacity in supporting it. That's a triterpene lactone material, very similar to Perilla alcohols and some other ones that have had a lot of very positive, very nice research on them to date. So this product here, though, should not ever be used just by itself unless you're just being watching to see what I want to do. You want to use something which will help to absorb whatever the liver is kicking out. Because if the bile duct is activated and you're putting bile into the system, you're putting bile into your intestinal tract, the original design for the body is to have that bile look for vitamin D, vitamin E, all the fat solubles that are out there, nutrient-wise, fish oils, all of those things, and then bind to them so that they can be reabsorbed by the intestinal tract. Because the body has a way of looking for cholinergic and cholinergic acid, and that's two of the main components that are kicked out into the bile, into the intestinal tract from the liver. So if it's looking for those two components as it's rolling down the intestinal tract, and they're sucking up and they're absorbing all these other nutrients, all these fat things, and they're reabsorbing, well, if you don't want to reabsorb, you got to get rid of it by absorbing it onto something else. And Good and Clean is one of those nice products to do that. It uses a soluble fiber in it. Soluble fiber specifically is the psyllium seed husk. The other components in there, the fructose oligosaccharide is a prebiotic, so it supports the floral growth, the bacterial growth in the large intestine, in the colon, at the end of the digestive system. It's also a soluble fiber, apple pectin soluble fiber. Cascara sagrada, just as a stimulant, just to support the bodies in the process. Chamomile is a calming agent. Rhubarb is another stimulant product. Buckthorn bark, another calming, stimulatory type product. Butternut, these are all things which support then this intestinal process of elimination. Okay, so the product is really nicely done, and it's a program. So when you're doing the detox and the Good and Clean together, this is a program. It's not designed to be used 24/7, 365 days out of the year. It's meant to be used for a couple of months at a time, kind of like the spring cleaning thing, or kind of like, the end of the year resolution thing. It's not meant to be used every day. And that brings us to Q&A. Catherine, do you have any questions?
We do just have a couple of questions. The first one is that I think the first two products had a little bit of caffeine in them. Could you talk a little bit about that? How much is in them? How that would relate to what people would normally consume through tea or coffee?
Sure.
Any concerns around the caffeine component?
Yeah, let's go back up to those slides if we can. Okay, the first one, we'll go back up to Turmeric Trim, has caffeine in it at 20 milligrams. When you're drinking a cup of fermented tea, the dark tea, the black tea, let's say like a Earl Grey or something along those lines, then they contain about 40 to 45 milligrams of caffeine. So this is equivalent roughly to a half of a cup of tea. of dark tea. Green tea contains a little bit less than that, 20 to 35 milligrams or so of caffeine, so it'd be somewhat equivalent to a cup of green tea. The raspberry ketones, if you look at that particular label copy, the caffeine load here is, again, 20 milligrams, 19 milligrams, 20 milligrams, so you're still looking at that half of cup of tea or so. Now, a cup of coffee, depending on how it's prepared, can be anywhere from, probably 100 to 120 milligrams of caffeine. So this, if you're a regular coffee drinker, this will actually have no real net effect on you. If you do not consume caffeine of any kind at all, then I would really recommend taking this product only in the morning and lunchtime and not in the evening. And that would be true for either one, either the turmeric trim or for the raspberry ketone, simply because caffeine can be stimulatory in that capacity. And that's actually part of the allure of having some caffeine present, is because it does create that excitatory process, but it also keeps you, it increases awareness, mental capacity, awareness, so it has some benefit there as well. But the load, once again, the caffeine load in here is so low for people who are regular coffee drinkers that they probably won't notice any effect at all.
Perfect, thanks. You mentioned earlier that on the Slim-zymes that you should take those prior to a meal, and then you also just talked about these two products maybe being a morning lunchtime thing. But just in relative to a meal for all of these products, before, after, during, what would you suggest?
Most of the time, well, first of all, in the turmeric trim, even though the bioperine does enhance the uptake of the curcuminoid complex, it really is better to take that with some kind of a fat in the meal anyway. So if you're going to have a salad with an olive oil dressing, that's perfect. That is absolutely ideal to help in this respect. If you're taking fish oils, you're consuming fish oils on a regular basis anyway, take those with that product just prior to the meal, so you have full emulsification of it coming through the stomach. And emulsification, that's where the oils blend well with water and remain suspended in the water or in the aqueous medium of your stomach fluid or into the intestinal tract. That's an emulsification, kind of like soap is an emulsification kind of a thing. Mayonnaise is an emulsification. They just keeps the oil suspended in the aqueous phase. But take them, once again, you want to take them just before the meal, or with a fat component, or with that fat component of the meal. Those are the best times to take those particular products. By taking the raspberry ketones just ahead of the meal, you actually introduce those to the body, increasing metabolism before you start getting into the food side of things. If you're looking at the Slim-zymes, taking them before the meal will help to introduce the enzymes to your bloodstream and put them to work in other ways, in ways other than as a digestive aid. So that's when they become the assistants to helping rebuild muscle. They become the assistant to helping to restructure the liver and all those other capacities.
Perfect. You mentioned too the enzymes. The Slim-zymes that we have are not vegetarian, but I just wanted to comment that we do have a vegetarian version called Good Digest. So you can find that information on our website, mountangelvitamins.com. But as John mentioned, they would have the same effect as the non-vegetarian version that we presented here. So do you have anything else to add on that topic, John?
Yes, I personally like the animal forms better, only because our body recognizes them immediately. It's kind of interesting in that as we have evolved or were created, however you choose to view that, there are a number of animal models in the world which resemble humans considerably, and good or bad, pigs resemble people quite a bit, or if you don't like that because you think that's insulting to pigs, then people resemble pigs. And then so either way, the enzymatic portion of the porcine to pig digestive system is the enzymes are nearly identical to humans. They're so close, in fact, that frequently if a person's taking either the enzymes or the thyroid or any of the other glandular type extracts that are typically used in medicinal applications, when you take those, they respond exactly, identically to the same dosing levels as what they are from people. So if you were to take the same extract from a human, you would get the exact same physiological response. They cannot tell the difference between those two physiological responses. So that's why I prefer that one. The Digestease, which is the vegetarian form, uses plant-based enzymes, fungal-based enzymes, to do very similar things. The pH profiles are close. They're not perfect, but they're close. But once again, my favorite vegetarian enzyme is bromelain, and that is a major component of the Digestease product. I would very willingly substitute bromelain or any form of bromelain containing product for the Slim-zymes in any application. I really do like bromelain a lot. It has a wonderful wealth of research associated with it, and specifically for the reasons we've been talking about.
That's perfect. Thank you. Well, that is all the questions that we have. So I will just run into the last slide and go over a little bit of information, follow-up information here. So these are our salespeople for Mount Angel Vitamins. So depending on where you are in the country, you may already have a rep, or you may want to find one. Here's all of their contact details. You also have our website listed there, mountangelvitamins.com, and our social media accounts. So we are on quite a few for Mount Angel Vitamins. And then we also have Highland Laboratories, which is our private label custom side of our business. So we do have a couple of platforms for that company as well, including LinkedIn and Facebook and Twitter. So please follow us on there. And we have a bit of information about our products and blog posts and different things. So, and you can always contact us directly if you have any specific questions. And then I also wanted to just save the date for January 12th. Because February is Heart Health Month, we will be focusing on a few products that will support your heart health. So we look forward to seeing you there. We'll send out a link to register for that probably in a couple weeks, so just keep an eye out for that. But thank you all for joining us today. We really appreciate it, and happy holidays, and we'll see you in January. Thank you.